The atmosphere at the NovaCare complex just changed completely, and it's not because of a standard roster move. For years, we have cheered for our quarterback through every high and low, but the front office just made a move that feels like a cold, hard ultimatum. It's a turning point that every die-hard fan needs to understand before the season kicks off. If you bleed green and care about the future of this team, you need to stay tuned because the era of excuses is officially over. Jalen Hurts is at a career crossroads because the Philadelphia Eagles used the 2026 NFL Draft to send a message that could not be any louder or clearer. By trading up to select slot receiver Makai Lemon from USC at number 20 overall, and then grabbing hybrid tight end Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt at 54, the front office is no longer just hoping for improvement. They are demanding it. For a long time, there has been a quiet conversation among insiders and fans about how the offense operates. We see the big plays to the outside, the incredible deep balls to stars like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and the dynamic rushing ability that keeps defensive coordinators awake at night. But there is a glaring hole in the middle of the field that has become impossible to ignore. The film shows a consistent reluctance to pull the trigger on those tough, interior throws that keep the chains moving and keep a defense honest. Whether it is a lack of trust in his reads or a simple preference for the perimeter, the numbers show the ball rarely travels between the hashes. Defenses have caught on to this pattern, and they are now daring our leader to beat them in the middle of the field. This is where the new additions come into play. Makai Lemon is a technician who thrives in the slot, someone who gets open quickly and requires a quarterback to be decisive and on time. Eli Stowers is a massive, athletic mismatch who can turn a simple seam route into a game-changing play if the ball is delivered with accuracy. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion is bringing in a system designed around spacing and timing, which will put a spotlight on every single decision made under center. If the ball continues to stay on the outside or gets held too long, it will be painfully obvious to everyone watching. The organization is essentially removing every possible excuse by providing the perfect tools for a more complete passing game. It is a bold and calculated move that forces a choice: evolve into a rhythm passer who dominates the entire field, or risk being seen as the limiting factor in an otherwise elite offense. The impact of this shift goes far beyond just a few new names on the depth chart. It represents a fundamental change in how the coaching staff views the evolution of their franchise signal caller. For several seasons, the coaching staff worked around his natural tendencies, building a game plan that played to his strengths as a dual-threat weapon and a perimeter thrower. That formula brought us plenty of wins and even a trip to the Super Bowl, but the front office clearly feels that the ceiling has been reached with that old approach. When you look at the elite offenses in this league, they all share one common trait, and that is the ability to carve up the middle of the defense with surgical precision. By bringing in two specific players who live and breathe in those high-traffic areas, the team is creating an environment where the starter has no choice but to change. If he continues to avoid those windows, these high-priced draft picks will essentially be wasted. And that is something a focused organization like ours cannot afford. Imagine a scenario where the slot receiver is wide open on a crucial third down, but the ball is thrown away or tucked for a short run instead. In the past, people might have blamed the scheme or the lack of interior options, but those arguments are now gone. The tension in the locker room could rise if the new weapons feel they are being ignored while running open through the heart of the secondary. This is not just about X's and O's. It is about the psychological growth of a leader who has always prided himself on his work ethic and adaptability. We have seen him overcome doubts before, moving from a second-round question mark to a legitimate MVP candidate. Now, the challenge is different. It is not about proving people wrong about his talent, but proving he can master the nuances of a sophisticated passing attack. The what-if hangs heavy over the facility. If the quarterback embraces this change, the Eagles could become the most unstoppable force in the NFL. But if he resists, we might be looking at the beginning of the end for this current era. When we strip away all the complicated football talk, this situation boils down to one simple thing, and that is winning more football games. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a window where they must compete for a championship every single year, and the front office believes this is the final piece of the puzzle. If our quarterback can finally start hitting those open targets in the middle of the field, it will make life so much easier for everyone else on the roster. The running game will have more room to breathe because linebackers won't be able to cheat toward the line of scrimmage. The star receivers on the outside will see fewer double teams because the defense will be terrified of the damage being done in the slot. It is a domino effect that could turn a good offense into a legendary one. However, there is a very real risk of failure here that we have to talk about as fans. If this transition does not happen smoothly, we could see a lot of frustration on the sidelines. We might see more turnovers if the ball is forced into tight windows without the necessary timing. We could see the offense stall out in the red zone if the quarterback does not trust what he sees in those crowded areas. The stakes are incredibly high because the team has invested significant draft capital into this specific plan. This was not just a random set of picks. It was a targeted strike to fix a weakness. If it does not work, the season could quickly slip away, and the conversations about the future of the quarterback position will become very loud and very uncomfortable. We all want to see our team succeed, and we want to see our leader flourish, but the NFL is a production-based business. At the end of the day, the goal is to hoist that trophy again, and the team is betting that this is the only way to get there. It is a high-stakes gamble that will define the next few years of Eagles football. Either we see a spectacular evolution that leads to a parade down Broad Street, or we see a regression that forces the team to make some very difficult decisions. Let us paint a picture of how this could play out over the next few months as we approach the heat of the season. In the best-case scenario, we see a transformed player who looks completely comfortable scanning the entire field from the pocket. He hits the rookie slot receiver on a quick slant for a huge gain, then finds the athletic tight end over the middle for a touchdown on the very next play. The offense looks fluid, unpredictable, and impossible to stop because there is no safe place for a defense to hide. In this version of reality, the Eagles dominate the NFC East and march toward another deep playoff run with a quarterback who has finally silenced every single critic. The fans are ecstatic, the building is buzzing with energy, and the future looks brighter than ever before. But we also have to be honest and look at the dark side of this situation. Imagine a scenario where the old habits start to creep back in during a high-pressure game against a division rival. The middle of the field is wide open, but the ball is forced into double coverage on the sideline or held until a sack occurs. The new draft picks become frustrated because they are running routes that never result in a target. The offensive coordinator starts to lose faith in the game plan, and the play calling becomes conservative and predictable. If this happens, the chemistry in the locker room could start to fracture, and the pressure from the media and the fans will become almost unbearable. This is the tension that currently exists within the organization. Every practice and every preseason snap will be scrutinized to see which path we are heading down. There is no middle ground here. It is either going to be a brilliant success or a costly mistake. The front office has placed their bets, and now we have to wait and see if the man under center can deliver on his end of the bargain. The weight of the city is on his shoulders, and the margin for error has never been thinner. We are watching a high-stakes drama unfold in real time, and the ending is still unwritten. It is a nerve-wracking time to be a fan, but it is also incredibly exciting to see the team push for greatness. This is one of the most fascinating situations we have seen in Philadelphia in a long time. The team is essentially daring their franchise player to be better, providing him with every tool imaginable to take that next step. It is a bold strategy that shows a lot of confidence in the roster, but perhaps a bit of lingering doubt in the quarterback's current style. As fans, we have to ask ourselves a very tough question. Do you believe he can truly change the way he has played his entire life to save his job? Be honest with yourself, because the future of this franchise depends on the answer. It is a lot to ask of any veteran, but this is the NFL, and nobody gets a free pass. I want to hear your thoughts on this move down in the comments. Do you think these draft picks were a stroke of genius or a sign of panic? Make sure to hit that like button if you love the Eagles as much as I do, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. I will be here with all the insider updates as this situation develops. Fly Eagles fly.